My name is Gamal Nagi with Grover Trophy Musical Products, maker of Grover Tuning machines. As musicians, we're always seeking ways to define our musical identity. We do this from the instruments we choose to play and the amps and effects we play them through. There are many incredible instruments and instrument brands available to us today. So whether you're playing a brand new instrument or a pre-owned gem, we tend to want to add our own personal touch to make it our own. Oftentimes, this is done with strings, pickups, electronics, maybe even as far as the bridge. But typically, two components I see commonly overlooked are the nut and the tuning machines. I'm going to focus on the tuning machines. Of all the upgrades you could do with your instrument, outside of changing strap buttons, upgrading your tuning machines might be one of the easiest. In most instances, the skills required are the ability to turn a screwdriver and a nut driver. You may have to pull the drill out if you go with a completely different set of machines that have a different mounting hole. But everything else is done from the factory and usually done in perfect alignment for the instrument that you're changing them out on. And there are many reasons to change out your tuning machines, but really it comes down to three: maintenance, functionality and performance, cosmetic and aesthetic. So let's start with maintenance. Tuning machines are a combination of moving parts, so it's only natural to expect that over time, these will fail in one way or another. The longevity of a tuning machine will greatly depend on the care and the usage. If you're changing strings often, over time the gears may develop a little bit of play in them, and this can cause unwanted stability issues, like not being able to properly dial in the pitch or slippage over the course of performance. When performing string changes, be sure to inspect all your tuning machines while the strings are off. Check the button, worm gear, gear wheel, string post. These should all operate in a seamless operation when you turn the button. If there's any play, try slugging down the screws that hold them together. You want them to be firm, not too tight. You want them to be able to move freely with a little bit of resistance, but not bind up to where you can't turn them at all. If all these are set up properly and there's still a little bit of play with grabbing the string post and you have a little bit of wiggle or it wants to lean one way or the other, this is probably a good opportunity to consider upgrading your tuning machines. Another reason under maintenance would be damage. From our rehearsal spaces to the stages we play on, we're always presented with opportunities to damage our instruments. I have many friends who have gotten their feet tangled in their straps and guitar cables, causing their instruments to suddenly crash to the ground, resulting in broken tuning machines. Now we'll talk about functionality and performance. There's little question that tone woods used to construct your instrument, along with your pickups, if applicable, are going to dominate the influence of the tone and the feel of the instrument. But the strings are going to deliver on that combination. The tuning machines play an often overlooked vital role in this delivery. If you cannot bring the strings to proper pitch and hold it through the course of playing even a single song, the pleasure and inspiration that comes from playing that instrument will be gone. So first, determine what it is that your current tuning machines are not providing to you. Do you feel like they are just missing the precision to really dial in that stable pitch? If so, consider choosing a tuning machine with a higher turning ratio. Grover standard tuning machines are 14:1. On basses is 20:1. And many of our guitar, mandolin, ukulele models can be ordered in an 18:1 version. The benefit of a higher gear ratio is it allows you to easily fine-tune the pitch you're after, since the string post is turning at a slower rate than the button. The perceived downside might be that you have to turn the button 18 times to make one full revolution. This can make string changes less joyous when you're trying to get 2.5 to 3 winds of string on each post. But let's face it, do we really find joy in changing our strings? We find it in playing the instrument when it performs the way we expect it to. So if you're playing a lot and performing a lot of string changes, then you may want to consider a locking machine. And Grover offers two types of locking machines. Our original locking Rhythmatic, the 106 or the 406 series. These are 18:1 gear ratio and features a 2-piece string post, where the machine's button turns the internal cam that turns and locks the string against the holes of the external cam before it starts turning the post. This secures the string to the post and doesn't require you to achieve even a full rotation on the post itself because you're being locked in by a separate device. Our other model is the Rotogrip locking Rhythmatics, the 502 or 505 series. These are also 18:1 gear ratio, but these feature a thumb wheel on the back of the housing that operates the internal cam that locks the string in place. Like the original locking rotomatics, you do not need to achieve 2.5 to 3 windings with this locking mechanism. This will speed up the time it takes during string changes, especially when you're dealing with a broken string in the middle of a performance. Let's face it, we don't want to be changing strings, we want to be playing their instruments. So the last reason would be cosmetic or aesthetic. Now for sure this can be applied when you're dealing with the reasons 1 and 2, but sometimes even perfectly good and working set of tuning machines can use an upgraded if they're not representing you or the instrument that they are on. This is where true personalization is going to come into play. At Grover, we offer a very wide range from vintage to modern and combinations in between. Maybe you want the vintage look, but you want the modern features like 18:1 gear ratio or the roto grip locking mechanism on the back of the vintage housing. Maybe your guitar came with modern housing, but you do want to try to recapture some of that vintage look. We offer the 3-step and the keystone buttons on some of the modern housings in the 102 series and 109 series. Another portion of the personalization is a friend of mine is enamored with the outlaw country guitar players. These guys tend to use a banjo tuning machine in place of the low E or even the high E string on their guitars. They claim that it allows them to play with alternate tunings or drop tunings in the middle of a song a little bit faster than trying to reach up and grab the guitar tuning peg. He's not using it for that reason. It's more to pay homage to the people he admires and tries to emulate. Possibilities are endless when it comes to cosmetic and aesthetic because this is where you talk to your personality and it's not necessarily a need, it's a want. If you have any questions regarding updating your instrument in the tuning machines and making sure you get the right fit, please reach out to Grover. We're more than happy to help. Thank you for your time. Talk to you soon.